Hi guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to this video. Happy new year. So this is the first video that I'm filming. Today is the 1st of January, and this segment essentially is supposed to help you work on your life. So I am currently working on myself, working on my life, and I've really given this year as a year for me to be able to work to my full potential. And I just wanted to share with you guys things that I've been learning in therapy, things I've been learning from friends, books that I've been reading in a really short and condensed segment on my channel on a regular basis, so that you guys can have an opportunity to hear what I have to say and hear what's been helping me, and if that applies to you, then fantastic. So today, the main thing that I want to focus on is the concept of changing yourself, and changing yourself in terms of habits. So I actually recently started reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend. I used to be such a skeptic of self-help books. Like, I felt like all the books were just going to be like, wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, be super organized, and your life will all of a sudden, change. But the difference between some of other self-help books that I've heard about, some which I've read, and Atomic Habits, is it actually preaches quite a different philosophy, and it's something that I am working on in my life and wanted to share on this channel as well. And I'm also going to be looking at it from a different perspective and a different approach that is new in comparison to what James talks about in the book. So essentially, for me, one of the first steps that I'm looking into to be able to change my life and reach my full potential as well, is to be able to change the habits that I had. I realized that I would wake up at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't know if anybody else has been there, and you have this urge to just, I want to change my life, I want to change everything, and write down a list of stuff that you want to do, where you see yourself, where you want to go, and then the next day you would be motivated for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, even a couple of weeks, and then you just get over it. And it's because you're trying to enter this new chapter, this new phase of your life, whilst keeping really bad habits. I had a horrible habit of not being able to stick to things, or not being able to wake up early. I have a really big problem with paying attention to detail. Things like this, like, they add up and they keep holding you back from reaching where you want to reach. So there's something that James talks about, and it essentially means that you can make changes through habit formation, but then this change doesn't have to be drastic straight away. I mean, I had a discussion with my therapist 2 weeks ago, talking about how I felt very, overwhelmed in life and very anxious about where I wanted to go with my career, etc., etc. And that stemmed from the fact that I viewed things in extremes. And essentially what that means for me is I could get one thing wrong and automatically go to the extreme consequence of that. Or I could get something right. This doesn't happen as often though. I could get something right and look at the extreme benefit of that. So for instance, let's look at this when it comes to something like working out. I would be the type of person, yep, I want to drop this weight, and I will go full throttle into it. I would cut out sugar, I would cut out dairy, I would work out 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and the day that I had an extra shift to do, or I had extra university work to work on, and I didn't go to the gym, I would automatically start thinking, yeah, I'm failing, blah, blah, and it would just drop off. Do you see what I mean? And so this method that James has talked about basically essentially wants you to be able to make these changes, but look at the changes in a very small and narrow sense. If you're trying to build a habit of waking up early, try and build a habit of waking up early in the sense of, if you're waking up at 8 o'clock, try and wake up at 7:45 and be consistent with that, and then work your way up to that process. Again, if you're trying to get better at work, you can look at all the things, all the areas in which you feel like you're not doing your best at, and find the most marginal improvement to make, but be consistent with it. And another aspect that I want to talk about, which James didn't speak that much about, is honesty. Look, a lot of us have a personal view of ourselves and an internal view of ourselves, and unfortunately, a lot of people operate on that alone. Like, they only think about how they think they're performing. You only think about how well you think you are doing, and that's a problem. And to an extent, I was also the same. It's either that I would either only care about what I was doing, or I would only care about what I was doing more in comparison to what other people else thought I was doing, and just continue doing the same thing. But I got to a point last year where I said, you know, I have to be very, very honest. Like, not honest as in I super, like the way you're honest to your best friend when she tells you, oh, you know, do you want to do this, do you want to do that, blah, blah. I mean, like, be honest. And again, not brutally honest to the point where you are just being mean and negative, but really just look at things simple, plain, objective. So okay, I'm gonna use myself, and I was having this evaluation about, you know, how to be better at my job and how to work better and work better with people. So I looked at it objectively and I said, look, I am very good at being creative and coming up with ideas, and I gave proof of that. I worked on this, I worked on this, I worked on this. That is proof that I am good at this. Then I said, I am not the best at paying attention to detail. And again, I had, you know, case scenarios where I may have missed something in an email, or haven't drafted something the best way that I could have, stuff like that. And once you realize that you're truly honest with yourself about your good and your bad habits and where you're actually at, then you can build from a real, genuine place. So for instance, I said, okay, I am not the best at paying attention to details. So what am I going to do from now on? I am going to make it a habit to take an extra look at things before I send them off, and really make that, you know, something that I always do. I've also said that I'm going to start working, you know, 20 minutes earlier than I usually do, and take that time to really plan my day and think about what it is that I have to do for each task, so that when it comes to it, I know what I'm doing, and it's harder for me to miss things, which makes it harder for me to make the mistakes that I was previously making. And I'm turning that into a habit. So you see how honesty plays such a huge role in habit formation, because it's only when you see yourself for where you really are that you can actually detect this marginal changes that need to be made. And the thing is, look, if you improve in terms of 1% a day that you're improving, by the end of the year, it will have such a magnificent impact on your life. But it won't be like one huge catastrophic thing happened and one massive amazing breakthrough happened and then your life changed. It would be a series of things, and that's what James talks about. It's a series of small, minute, atomic habits that will eventually change your life. So today, give it a try. Think about one thing that you genuinely believe that you're struggling in, and think about, honestly look at it and say, this is where I am in this thing. Let me find something small I can improve, and keep going that way. If you have a goal to be able to build a business, you could say, okay, I don't have all the time in the world to spend on this business, but let me make it a habit that every day, 10 minutes of my lunch break, I'm going to think about what I need to do for my business, or I'm going to do something towards my business, and make that habit 10 minutes. 10 minutes of your lunch break every single day. Think about, what would my business need? Ooh, what ideas would I have for branding? What ideas would I have for marketing? How would I want to do my pricing? What type of products would I want to sell? What type of service would I want to give? Things like that. 10 minutes, that 10 minutes that you spent, 6 days, that's an hour that you spent towards your business that you otherwise probably wouldn't have spent, because if you're like me, you would have been thinking about it in extremes, like, I need to dedicate a whole day. I need to have a whole week before I could think about this. And then you just don't do it. So today, be honest with yourself and make small atomic habits that can by the end of the year, potentially even in a couple of weeks, have such a good and substantial impact in your life. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to filming the next episode of this, and if you have any discussions, anything that you'd like to add, put it down in the comment section and I will reply to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys. Enjoy. Have a great morning. Bye bye.